Vancha Kalpatarisha Kripa Tanam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In Western countries, time is very, very important. In India, I have this lived experience. You go to some temple, they ask you to give a class, and you ask what time, what is the time for the class to end? And then they tell you, Maharaja, you are not in America. But, you know, the point is we are conscious of time because Krishna is time. And the topic for today is how to increase our attachment for Krishna. So Krishna said he is time, the destroyer of the worlds. For us, the beginning of attachment for Krishna is to see how we are using Krishna's resources meaningfully for our individual and collective growth. Because that facilitates a sense of detachment from the material world and an inclination to become deeply involved in activities that leverage our consciousness in Krishna consciousness. So if we are just conscious about how we use our time, that will go a long way to increase our attachment for Krishna. In some cases, we'll find that a number of people, they're very good at abusing time. But they don't get called on. They don't get a call from the cops to get them arrested. In America, if you emotionally abuse your child, say you yell at your child, they can call the police for you. Okay? But if you abuse time, it's an abuse, then no one will call the police for you. So, if we are conscious of the fact that Krishna is time, we will not abuse time. We use our time effectively. And one of the major factors that is responsible for the abuse of time these days is the electronic age, the digital culture. I know people who lost their jobs because of smartphones and the internet. A judge was in the court presiding over a case, and she was browsing on her phone. In America, all of the public buildings, there are cameras all over the place. And someone saw that and reported it. That's how she lost her job. So it just shows that people are not conscious of the fact that Krishna is time, and they have to utilize time based on this occult pattern, according to time, place, and circumstance. You're on the job, you cannot be browsing on your phone, because that also amounts to cheating. You're paid for a number of hours you're supposed to work. So, increasing our attachment for Krishna really requires us to be very conscious about how to utilize the illusory energy for Krishna's service. As I travel around the world, I've also discovered that many devotees don't read Prabhupada books. And if we don't read the books, at some point in time we get fried, completely dehydrated, spiritually dehydrated. Now, in the Gita Mahatmya, there is a conversation between Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi. And in one of those conversations, Lord Vishnu told Lakshmi that the Bhagavad Gita is not different from him. In other words, people worship devotee, and that is the worship of the Lord with all of our walking and knowledge acquired senses. When we read the Bhagavad Gita, that is the worship of the Lord with our intellect, and which is more powerful than the physical worship. So we want to increase our attachment for Krishna, practice how to read as much as possible daily. And you will always be fresh, desiring to love Krishna more and more. Because the reading not only empowers us to become a true lover of Krishna, it brings us close. You can't say you love someone when you're not close to the person. So to be attached to Krishna implies that we have to be close to him. We have to hear about him. We have to read about him. We have to discuss about him. Why? Because that's what happens with the object of love. We think about the object of love. In some cultures, some members of the family are like icons. And so someone may be married, they may not remember their husband when they knock their foot against a stone, but they remember a member of the family. That is the object of love. To be conscious of who you love means also to practice to remember that person. Therefore, Krishna said, Man mana bhava. Always think of me. You do the same. Each time you call someone after a long time, they tell you, "Oh, thank you so much for remembering me." And that helps to increase the attachment in both parties. You can't say you love someone and you don't call them. So there are so many things that we can do to increase our attachment for Krishna. Hearing about Krishna. And hearing about Krishna not only increases our attachment for Krishna, it helps to purify the heart. Nastapa Yesu abad Yesu. Nityam Bhagavatam Seva. It's in itself service. And when we serve someone, it increases the attachment for that person. It creates what we call bonding. And that's why in most cases, children favor their moms more than their dad in most cases. Because that's the person who has nurtured them. He's laughing. That's the person who has nurtured them right from when they were in the womb. Is called service. Service creates a bonding. My Guru Maharaja Bhakti Vasudeva Swami, when we are younger brahmacharis, he tells us, when you receive service from a girl, you should know that you have been propositioned. Yeah, so whether you like it or not, there is a bonding. You receive some service from someone, you have to reciprocate. That's some bonding. That's how it works. And so it is really very important. Service is important. You can say you have a wife, that you love your wife. You tell her, darling, 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 I love you so much. And 12 calendar months have gone. No new clothes. On our birthday, there's no gift. There's no service being rendered to the beloved. Attachment will wane automatically. So, the things we do in Krishna consciousness, service to Krishna, service to the devotees, especially service to Krishna, helps us to build a stronger bonding in our relationship, stronger attachment. Whether you like it or not, when service is rendered, it is a form of biological and neurological intervention that triggers the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. And these are catalysts for bonding, catalysts for motivation. And so our process is not just a theological process, but it's also very scientific. Everything we do can be measured. Science means measuring the results. Something you cannot measure the results, you cannot prove it. It cannot be scientific. You cannot call it scientific. A Krishna consciousness, even Prabhupada would say, Krishna consciousness is a science. And so we can measure the outcome of our activities because it creates some type of impact on our whole system, neurological, psycho-physical system. I mean, it's like people sometimes find it very difficult to convince their young kids on why they need to chant. If you tell a child that chant and be happy, and then the child tells you, Mommy, I'm happy. What will you do? What will you do? He or she has defeated you. We're not equipped scientifically in Krishna consciousness to convince people to do devotional service. That's the problem because in most cases, you cannot convince people with just a theological or philosophical analysis. In modern days, people are like children. They want to see the result of what they do. What will I gain from this activity? Yes, Krishna consciousness is free from jnana, karma, and yoga mishra bhaktis. And there are people who have those type of inclinations. So we just throw them overboard? No. We have to see how they are engaged and so that they can increase their attachment for Krishna. Some people may not sit down to chant 16 rounds this life. But who can enable them to increase their attachment for Krishna by rendering service. And they can become eligible candidates for emancipation from the clutches of material energy. So the reading, the services, and yes, the Sangha, they're so important. And of course, even above it all is how we treat each other. You can't say you love Krishna, or you speak very nicely, you go to give class in the temple, and you come back home and punch your wife. And that's not going to increase your attachment for Krishna. This is to create a disorientation in a relationship with Krishna, because that's an abuse of Krishna's parts and parcels. So the point is, sometimes we speak very high philosophy, and in practice we don't implement something that is really collectively uplifting. So we need to understand that this human form of life is very unique. And not many people are exposed. Out of the 8.6 billion people on the planet, less than 1 billion people are exposed to Krishna consciousness. So, you can see the percentage of the people who are deprived of this precious knowledge. Another talk of is people who are even exposed to this knowledge. We have few people who are practitioners, people who practice the philosophy. Like there's philosophy, but there is also applied philosophy. There's Krishna consciousness, there is applied Krishna consciousness. Applied Krishna consciousness means we are implementing those models and strategies that the acharyas have given to us, Krishna has given to us. Implementing those in our lives. Like in science, we talk about theories, and the theories and models are meant for application to resolving a problem situation. So if we just speak the philosophy and we don't apply it in our lives, then we are missing the whole point. That will not increase our attachment for Krishna. And service of Krishna is wonderful. But what more important than that is the service to the devotees. Krishna mentions in the Bhagavatam and even the Puranas that those who claim to be his servants, those who try to serve him directly, they are not his devotees. Those who serve the devotees, his devotees, those are the ones considered most dear to him. And it's just, if you make a logical analysis of that, you find that the child of a very rich person, the way to win that rich person is to help that child. The child may not want anything from you, but just a gift. He or she will rush to the father and say, "Hey, Papa, this person gave me this." Yeah, that's how it works for Krishna too. That if we serve his devotee, we become most dear to him. So serving the devotee of Krishna is the most effective way to increase our attachment for Krishna. I mean, think it's something really like, okay, be at the feet of the spiritual master, be on the altar all the time, you're doing seva 24/7, you don't even have time for your family, and that is going to increase yourself. Yes. That's going to increase your attachment? No. And some people do that. They're serving Krishna. They go to temple and serve Krishna every day, and they don't give quality time to their children and their spouses. Yes, but it will not increase your attachment for Krishna. Okay? It will simply hurt your attachment to Krishna. Because then you will not realize that you're hurting your family members, all in the name of service to Krishna. You hurt your family members, you're hurting the limbs of Krishna. How will that increase attachment for Krishna? So, Krishna consciousness is simple. How to become attached to Krishna is simple. We should not make it complicated. Don't complicate it. Simple thing. And therefore, it is important for us to remind ourselves that the most important relationship is relationship with the devotees, not even relationship with Krishna, not even service to Krishna. That has to build a very strong attachment for Krishna. Because Krishna is in our hearts. Ishvara Tava Bhutanam, Lady Se, and Junatistat. And so we have to see how we are finding that spark of attachment by serving devotees. Do you have a family? Take good care of your family. Don't serve your guru so nicely and then you neglect to give quality time to your family. We have this philosophy that water the root of the tree, and then the whole tree, the buds, the flowers, the fruits, they will all flourish. And we can use that also in an abusive way, because we can do all of that. We can be serving Krishna. We go to the temple and do service to Krishna every day, and we undermine the service to the family members. It means we are neglecting the most important way to be able to increase our attachment to Krishna. So to become attached to Krishna, it's simple. Yeah. It's pretty simple. Because everybody has someone within their circle that they can render service to, that they can care for, that they can love. I remember right here in London, one of my friends, she's a lady, a scientist. She was complaining about her son, 7 years old son. So I asked her, when was the last time you told this boy, I love you? She said she could not remember. And you're complaining about the child. The fundamental thing to be able to utilize in the tool you should use in wooing your child to do your bidding. You are not using that tool. And in most cases, people have children without understanding the psychology of children. What the children need, what are the social, psychic, and sociological and psychological needs of the child. And even sometimes people get married. Most times, really. Most times people get married without understanding the psychology of the opposite sex. And then they have to experiment with each other and commit offenses against each other, because you're a woman, you don't know, you don't understand the psychology of men. How are you going to know when to do what? And if you're a man, you don't understand the psychology of women, and you're married, how are you going to know what to do next? So the world becomes like a gambling house. That's what most people are passing through. And so we're trying to be devotees, and so we should see ways on how we can rectify some of these things. I encourage my friends and disciples, they get married. Before they get married, they should try to do some courses on women's psychology or men's psychology. Otherwise, attachment to Krishna will be far-fetched, because you will hurt each other. You will offend each other. And before you have children, you should try to understand the psychology of the child, psychological development. Otherwise, you hurt your child. And the irony is that most people all over the world, They think that when they have a child, the child is their maid. They can order the child back and forth, and they can never be wrong. They can never be wrong. But no, we can be wrong. Parents can be wrong, and parents do go wrong all the time. Oh, yeah. This is the blunt reality. Parents do go wrong all the time. And most parents, they're full of ego. They can't tell their child, I'm sorry. I'm sorry will not remove one follicle of hair from your body. I'm sorry will not remove one damn follicle of hair from your body. But our ego is so much. If you're going to wrong the child, we refuse to sell our ego to say, I'm sorry. So we can say we love Krishna and we're hurting our children. We're talking about how to increase attachment for Krishna. Treat his parts and parcels very nicely, including your children, your spouses, your family members. And if they are happy, you should know that Krishna is happy with you. It's the opposite. We have people think that, okay, you can go and please Prabhupada, please the Guru, and every member of the family, they can go to hell. No, it doesn't work like that. Because Krishna said that in the Kathopanishad, it specifically mentioned that those who serve his devotees, they are his real devotees. And everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. So some people are devotees, their devotion is overt. Some people are in a covert state. The devotion is in a covert state. But then the bottom line is that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. Mama evam so jiva loke, jiva puta sananda. We want to increase our attachment. We should start attachment for Krishna. We should start treating each other with honor and dignity. Any comments or questions on this? Prabhupada will give sometimes just 20 minutes class. Okay. Yes, any comments or questions? Yes, please.
Maharaja, you talked about being kind to others around us. Well, this is a very good point to develop our relationship. You talked about being kind to everyone to develop a relationship with Krishna, and spending time with people around us, friends or family. But then, couldn't you fall in the trap of sort of the wrong association? Like Prabhupada mentions about Banasura and Narek, who was the child of the Lord, but then ended up becoming a demon soul.
Sure.
And then the Avanti Brahmin, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, that he realized his family was holding him back spiritually. So then he decided to leave his family. So then we have the Shloka Goswami praises him for giving up his attachment. So
Yeah.
when is
Yes, see, I understand your point. Thank you. I'm talking about devotee family. Your wife is a devotee, or your husband is a devotee. You have children. You should be attentive to their needs. You cannot use service as a facade not to be attentive to the needs of your family members. Because the service that you render to the devotee is more important than direct service to Krishna. That's what Krishna said in the Kathopanishad. He said that also in the Uddhava Gita, in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So yeah, association, we have to be careful, especially associating with non-devotees could be dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because again, that has a scientific undertone. In 1937-38, the German psychologist Professor Lewin, he developed the field theory. He conducted different experiments and came up with the conclusion that the field impacts on our values and behavior. And sometimes people who are coming from migrants, uh, they expected their children to have the values of their community from the country of origin. I mean, it's like, okay, you are of Indian background and you have a child that is born here, and you're expecting the child to have the values that you had, because when you were born in India and raised in India, it doesn't work like that. The children born here, they're Brits. They're not Indian. They may have Indian body, the mentality is completely different. And this is a little bit difficult to catch up with this because this is a purely scientific body. This is a theory in science. It's called the field, developed in 1938 and 37. So we have this, sometimes we miscue and people get into trouble with their kids. I remember in America, one of my friends, had her son joined the military, and then she came complaining to me that the son stopped talking to her. I said, "Did you ask him why he's doing that?" He said, "No, he has not asked." I said, "Go find a way to ask him and write a letter to him, ask him." And then she did, and then the boy said that she abused him when he was small. And then she said, because it's an Indian body, Caribbean Indian. And then she said, "Maharaj, we are Indians. We spank our child when they do the wrong thing." I said, "Oh, you missed the whole thing. You missed it. And you're rationalizing what you did." So, I mean, this is just a general message to everybody. Don't expect your local values of country of origin in a child born in Britain. Please don't make that mistake. Because it doesn't work like that. The place you are born has a lot of influence on your values. If you put an iron nail in fire, the nail gradually acquires all the qualities of fire. That's called the field. So yes, associating, we have to be careful. If we are hanging out with somebody, that goes a long way to determine our future. That's also the field. Humans constitute the field too. Association. We talk of Sangha association. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya warned the devotees not to associate with Mayavadis. But that is the field team. So we speak this stuff theologically and philosophically. But, we can use those to convince people who are not devotees. Like, if you meet a management scientist, you can start telling those type of stuff. But you have to, we have this stuff, but you can present it scientifically to anybody and win their heart. See, I presented in 2021, I presented a research paper at the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology in London. And what was the research about? It was all about how chanting Hare Krishna prevents financial fraud. The content, that was the content. But I put it in a scientific way with data, research, and all this stuff. Even the title was, people love the title. I call it Sonic Therapeutic Intervention for preventing financial fraud. And then the paper received the best presentation award, and they published it in their journal of International Journal of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, not Journal of Religion, not Journal of Philosophy. International Journal of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering. So, the same philosophy, the same things we say in the classes, but they have scientific undertone. And you can really use the same philosophy, the same thesis, to convince anybody who is not even a devotee, based on how you channel your presentation. Yeah, if I'm with the devotees, yeah, we say, they knows me at all the hey, Kumara, Yavanam Jarat, but with my colleagues, management scientists, no, the approach is different. Yeah, so, and they love seeing people who have better academic qualifications than even them, but then they have also ethical values. I had this experience in most cases that people just force themselves on me to be my friends. Because they see that, oh, this guy, he has a PhD, and he has also ethical values. And he has even more publication than I do. What is the secret? So they want to come close. I remember I was in South India, at University of Pondicherry, for a conference on integrating spirituality and leadership. And after my presentation, that was mainly from Bhagavad Gita. Mainly from Bhagavad Gita. And after the presentation, self-control and leadership. After the presentation, during the question and answers, one young professor from South India, you know the question he asked? Normally, we go to conferences, we critique each other, we find fault with each other's presentation. It's completely opposite of devotional culture, where you find the good in some way. No, we'll find a fault in you. So during the question and answer, this young professor, he really surprised me, because he said, Dr. Das, because my name professional is Dr. Das, just Dr. Vasudeva Das. He said, Dr. Das, you are not born in India. And now you are the leader of an Indian origin organization. And you're also a top scholar. Tell us how you came by this so that we can follow your footsteps. So then, I gave gave me an opportunity to tell my story about how I came to Krishna consciousness and the motivations and all this stuff. And he was very impressed with the other scholars who were there. After the conference, he came. The mother is just a young guy who has a PhD. The mother was traveling with him. And the mother went with him to that conference. So he came to introduce the mother to me. And that's how we build up a relationship based on Krishna consciousness. So yeah, association is important. We have to be careful so that we don't get into wrong hands. We have to be selective. And so, especially, and I tell this to young people, you want to go to college, good for you. But if you're not chanting, it's very difficult to go to college and come out clean. Because the environment is not conducive. So, you want to go to the war front, you need to be equipped with ammunition. You have to put on the bulletproof. You can't tell your spouse, I'm going to darling, I'll see you later, I'm going to the war front. But you're going with swimming pants. I doubt if you're going to see a darling soon. So that's what happens when we have to go out there and mix with people. We need to understand we are going to a battlefield, especially those who are going to colleges, universities. Yeah, the energies are completely daring. So we have to, uh, we are the bulletproof, carry ammunitions so that we can go and come back, fight for another day. All right.
On that note, actually, I have a son. He's 20, and he I'm in Canada. I live in Canada, and he did 3 years of university in Ottawa, and now he's moving back. He's gonna finish and get his master's where we live at the house. And he knows about I've been in Krishna consciousness for about 20 years, so actually his whole life, pretty much. And I don't know. I guess I kind of want to, like, he's 20. It's very touchy. So any like good ideas that might help me sort of. My husband is Krishna conscious. I'd like to see him get involved.
Yeah.
Like, just it's such the age is so.
Yeah. In most cases, see, for one thing, it's not too late, okay, to help that child. But you have to change the way you relate with him. You have to change your gear. Add some ingredients in your parenting. One ingredient is love. The other ingredient is friendship. And you should be like a consultant, not trying to control.
Yeah, that's, I think,
Parents find it very difficult to do that. Because we are used to, hey, do this. Hey, do this. Hey, where you going? I see. I have one of my mentees in India. He told me a story, and I was laughing. He came home. This boy has a PhD in mathematics. He came to visit with the parents. So in the evening, he was going out about 6 o'clock. He was going out to see some friends. And the mother came to cross-court him and said, hey, where are you going? He has a PhD in mathematics. A mature person. And the mother came to cross-court him and said, hey, where are you going? Look, it's getting late. Where are you going? Yes, so parents can be funny sometimes. This is also one of the problems that disrupts relationship between adult children and parents. I remember in Washington, D.C., one white guy, he came to meet me, and his 25 years old son doesn't talk to him. They live in the same house. So, and I studied these things in graduate school. So I told him all the things that he's been doing in the house. And he was just too shocked. He said, how do you know? You don't live with us. I said, I study this stuff. So I don't know what you people do, what your parents do. So I told him when he goes back, he should apologize to his son. He said this was really difficult. He defining for that the boy is the cause of the problem, is the boy is the cause. And now here he comes to see someone. He was thinking, I would just tell him to call the boy, and then I will, like chastise him. How can you not talk to your father? So, bottom line, you can add these tools in a relationship with your son, and don't hesitate to tell him that you love him. Don't hesitate to tell him that you love him. That melts the heart of children.
Thank you.
Yeah. The other point is, I know a number of people, even parents and family members, who are like not even favorable in the beginning to Krishna consciousness, and the devotees simply give them prasadam, and it changed their whole approach to Krishna consciousness. They became devotees. I know one of my personal assistants in Delhi, he told me a story. He graduated from at the university in information technology and joined as a brahmachari. The family were very much against him. His father is a medical doctor, retired now, and the mother and the father and his older brother were so much antagonistic. But he will visit home like maybe once or twice. I mean, like once in a week or twice in a week. Twice in a week because they live in the same city. And what he does, or what he was doing, was to get very nice prasada from the restaurant. The mother is initiated Brahmin now. He told me how the parents gave him so much trouble. And then he said, now his mother chants 64 rounds on Ekadasi. And he told me, Maharaj, I can't even chant 25 rounds. And this woman gave me so much trouble. And she's more advanced than me. I said, don't think like that. The advancement she makes, you also share the results. So there are ways, if you can put aside some of the, this issue about this control business. Parents like to control too much. Because I'm just giving you graphic examples, okay? Someone who has a PhD, 30 years old, he's going out at 6 o'clock, and then the mother comes to check him. Like, where are you going? To get late. This is called Ishvara Bhava. Control. And some people, they relish it, but they don't know that they are destroying the relationship. Yeah. Any other question? Yes, please.
Thanks so much, Maharaj. You were talking about learning the psychology, like if you get married, children, relationships in general.
Yeah, there are some courses that people can take and understand these basic things in the relationship.
So, how do we approach psychology as devotees in general? Because obviously, I understand that psychology really gets rooted in Shastra. Like we can read Maharaja, we can read Ramayana, all these literatures that we've got to understand psychology. But to extract it from the literature is very difficult.
That is also Vedic psychology, yeah. So that is there. You see, yeah, I agree with you. See, if you read, for instance, a book like Govinda Ladamitra, you will really see how an ideal mother should treat their children. But we don't. We are dominated by this issue about that takes over our life. We just want to control and order and give instructions here and there. That has not helped in any child-parent relationship. Too much control has not helped in any child-parent relationship. Parents should also see how they get the feedback from their children. How many parents here have ever sat their child down and asked, my dear son, my dear daughter, what are the things I'm doing in this family that you don't feel comfortable, that you think I should adjust to create a better loving relationship in the family? Have ever done that? Raise up your hand. You did. Very good. Very good. Very good. This helps to change the dynamics of the family. The child feels the child has a sense of belonging. They feel, yes, I'm part of this family. Instead of just being the controller. And whatever you do is right. If you hurt them, it doesn't matter. And children also, they have to be very precautious in terms of the way they deal with their parents, they deal with their siblings. Because there is nothing that we do that is not on record. So yes, Vedic psychology is also there. And the way that Yashoda, for instance, and Rohini treat Krishna and Balaram is a good example. See, Yashoda will ask Krishna before he goes to sleep. She goes direct to his room and talk to him like a baby, asking what he will want to eat before he sleeps.
So not shouting from the bottom of the house.
So yeah, we read these things as lila, and we don't seem to take cognizance of what to take home with, implement in our lives, and create a transformation in the family. Otherwise, everything is there, yes. But how to extract it is a problem. So that's why I made that recommendation. And sometimes also people complain that, oh, I'm a devotee for these years. Why did Krishna give me this type of child? The question is, did you remember Krishna at the time of meeting? Look, Hiranyakasipu begat a saint. You know that story? You know that story? In why Hiranyakasipu begat a saint? Now, in the Nrsimha Purana, chapter 20, is giving the details how and under the circumstances that Prahlad took birth in the womb of Hiranyakasipu's wife. Hiranyakasipu remembered Krishna, remembered Vishnu, chanted Vishnu's name at the time before he discharged semen. That was why that powerful soul was invoked. Hiranyakasipu had contemplated to go to the forest to perform austerities, to beg Vishnu. To beg Lord Brahma for immortality. And Lord Brahma was very disturbed. Immediately, Hiranyakasipu conceived that idea. He knew this guy is going to come, and I don't have that to give. So he was worried. And then his son, the best of his sons, Nardamuni, he has 3 color gear, past, present, and future, he knows. He knew the challenge that his father was passing through. So he came to pacify the father that I will take responsibility for that. I will deal with it. Don't worry. So Nardamuni spoke with his friend, Bhavatamuni, and then for both of them to assume the form of birds to go and perch on the tree under where Hiranyakasipu would be performing his austerities. And they would have to chant Om Namo Narayana Namaha. So these details, graphic details, are there in chapter 20 of Srimad Purana. It's not in the Bhagavatam. So Hiranyakasipu has gone to the forest. Before he went to the forest, he had told his wife that he would be away for a long time. And Hiranyakasipu went to the forest, and not long he came back. Why? Because those 2 birds were chanting this mantra under where Hiranyakasipu was performing his austerities. So he felt disturbed. and broke his austerities and came back to his parents. So one day they were having sex, himself and his wife. And an ideal woman knows when to ask the husband anything, and he will give. He'll give a positive answer. So Iranian's wife was very super intelligent, sociologically super intelligent. She knew. Iranian's is a difficult person. Okay? Then she knew when to make the inquiry, and he will, release all the information when they were having sex. So just before the discharge of semen, the wife asked Iranian what made him to come back from the forest so quickly when he said he was going to be away for a long time. And then Iranian started narrating what transpired when he was in the forest. These two bears came there and they were chanting Om Namo Narayana Nama. So as he repeated this mantra, Om Namo Narayana Nama, he discharged him. That was how that invocation invoked a powerful soul like Prahlad. So we have in the in the Garuda Purana there are so many rituals involved. And I remember I was reading something about when what Jagyavalkya was mentioning about all of this Banashram and all of these strict details and all this stuff, or what to do to be able to have, a Brahmanical child, a powerful child, and all this stuff. But then it's there in the Srimad Purana. Of course, many people may not be exposed to that dissertation. But we also have this Gavatam Samskara process. In fact, when Prabhupada was given the first initiation at 26th Avenue in New York, before he gave the initiation, some of the devotees had asked Prabhupada, what is our commitment? You want to give us initiation, but what is our commitment? And then Prabhupada said, you chant 64 rounds. They said, we cannot. 32 rounds. They said, no, we cannot. And then Prabhupada brought it down to 16 minimum. And then somebody asked, so a man or woman, before they have sex, how many rounds should they chant? And Prabhupada said 50 rounds each. You want to hear? I'm telling you. I'm just repeating what Prabhupada said. So, why? I remember one of my friends in Mayapur, he was taking me from the home I was staying to the temple. Married person, he had a baby. And he was sharing with me that, Maharaj, these 50 rounds, husband and wife to chant before sex. When you chant, you don't feel, you're no longer interested in the sex, I said, that is how it becomes service. You have to do it anyway because it's service. Now it becomes service. So those who have performed those type of service, and I know one couple in Liverpool, right here in the UK, in Liverpool. The girl is aspiring for me. And the husband wasn't even a devotee. Yeah, how that situation transformed, I fear that girl. Because she's so powerful. It's just a risky business, but she changed the guy. In fact, they have a baby now, about 2 years old, but that baby is like, she acts as if she's 5 years old. Devotion in terms of intellectual quotient and everything. The both husband and wife, they chanted 50 rounds each. Yeah. He started at 12 o'clock chanting till about 5:30 before they had the sex and conception. That is how that girl became manifest. And she's like a brimstone. Fire. Yeah. So this is the power of Krishna consciousness. We're not just talking about people going back to God and all the material world is full of suffering. That's true. But also we can present a positive philosophy for people to live their lives in a joyous and profitable way. So that when people don't think that we are pessimistic and we just see only the bad things in the material world. So yeah, we have a child who is not Krishna conscious. There are ways to handle those type of people. Treat them nicely. Don't show them that, because you're not following this, I hate you. No, the love should be unequivocal. You love someone, you want them to do their bidding, that's not unconditional love. Especially the person, this is your blood. So bringing the Krishna factor is part and parcel of Krishna. It's a devotee. It's just that devotional emblem has not blossomed yet, but is there. So don't be worried. Okay? When he comes, give him a nice prasada every day. Okay?
And chant 50 rounds.
No,
Just in case.
Don't impose. Don't. All right. Yes, Prabhu.
Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you preached in many countries. Could you share with us some of your more unique experiences in preaching in different countries?
Yeah.
You've gone to so many different countries.
Yeah. The preaching, especially in the West, is a little bit different from India. And what traditionally happens is that anybody can preach in India. Anybody can preach in India and get many followers because the average Indian person is very easy for them to appreciate Krishna consciousness. Even Indians in diaspora, it's easy for them to appreciate Krishna because they have a lot of positive, pious merit. And so, a place like in India, you can speak Krishna consciousness direct. We can do Qatar. That's where the Qatar is flourish. You can speak directly. In other countries, like in America, you have to present your talk in a scientific way for the audience. And this is one of the things I gained in graduate school because then I'm able to present Krishna consciousness according to the needs of the people. Because everybody you meet, they're not ready for this Krishna's two Bhagavan Swayam. What is your problem? You have to address your problem. So in most countries that I go to, I mainly present topics, public programs that are problem solving oriented. The topics are problem solving oriented. And you see many people come. Yeah. And especially in America, in the colleges and universities, it's very difficult to preach if you have to go direct to Krishna. And therefore, the different skills and talents that people have as weapons of spreading Krishna consciousness become very useful. I'm lucky to have the appropriate skills and technologies. So I can talk in devotional community. I can also enter into places where the traditional Swami cannot go. So I remember in Mauritius, so my host arranged for me to meet with the president of the country, and through the public relations officer, the devotee was the public relations officer for the country. And the president was very much worried about the youth degradation in his country. And he was asking how to fix it. We had very deep discussions about how to go about with the fixing by his own personal example. I have met presidents of countries, but that guy was a different scenario because he was very concerned about the welfare of his citizens. So we meet people like that, and then we also have a seminar with the leaders how to manage temples, because management and decision, that's my specialization in the PhD. And we had some talks with them. All the leaders came, and they were very appreciative. In fact, that's the country where people actually engage me, or ISKCON people engage me according to my talent and skills. Otherwise, majority of the countries that I go to, you mean they ask you to do the things that every Tom, Dick, and Harry can do, which is also good because it doesn't require any cracking of head. Yeah. So yeah, bottom line is that, like in Africa, people like, they like to read, but then they also like this dancing and all this stuff, singing and dancing. In Africa, the most viable avenues for reaching out to people is through the media, television. And that's what also Bhakti Vasudeva Swami used in gaining so much of followership. In the West, the television, they don't use it so much. And that is the one big area that we can really get followers. So I do all of these things. In fact, I will train my Bhakti Vasudeva Swami personally how to appear on television, what to look, how to focus on the camera when you're being interviewed. In Mauritius also, we had a television program, and the talk was purely based on topical issue, the war in the Middle East. Yeah, so I come to Europe, again, it's just direct preaching to devotee community. And if I go to the universities, again, we use some topical theme to address the needs of the students and the professors. In that way, people will easily identify with us. Because not everybody is Krishna consciousness aware to the degree that you speak directly about Krishna and then they are ready to listen. They can even tell you that I have my own religion. Yes, you may have your own religion, but you have problems. What's the problem? We address those problems. So yeah, according to Desa Kalapatra, according to time, place, and circumstance, our approach has always been different. And mainly, my approach is mainly in academia, going to conferences. Like last year, on March 29, I presented 5 research papers in one day at a management conference at Oxford. Nobody, no PhD on this planet, I repeat, no scholar on this planet has ever done that before. 5 research papers one day. Here in Oxford. They are all They are all problem-solving oriented, rooted in Krishna consciousness. One of the things I do is to encourage also my young followers to be skilled professionally and academically so that they can help to create a transformation in the world. Because not everybody is ready for Krishna's true Bhagavan's way. Yeah. Okay.
Maharaj, Dalgaran Prabhu wanted to ask if you met any deaf devotees before.
No.
He's
My first time.
first time. He wants to teach you how to do Hare Krishna. It's
My brain is already congested with so many things. I will not be able to learn that.
He's very patient. It's very simple, he's saying.
Yeah, but my brain is already congested.
He's saying only one or two words, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
All
to
right.
meet you, Maharaj, that's what he said.
Oh, pleasure. All right, in the absence of any other comments or questions, we'd like to adjourn this meeting, and I appreciate all of you for sparing your precious time to come for this gathering. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Maharaj, for this wonderful lecture. Very enlightening and very unusual lecture, to bring science and Krishna consciousness together. I was standing in the back when Maharaj was commenting about children and parents, and watching people's bodies shuffle from the back. I'm not sure whose bodies were shuffling more, the kids or the parents. But, there are going to be some interesting conversations tonight. Particularly him. So thank you very much for that. Very, very unique, and we're very blessed to have had you here today. We hope that you can grace us with your presence again soon.
All right.
We have 3 big Haribols for Maharaj. Haribol! 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 Also, we have some signed books as well. That if anybody's... Yes, I was going to say. We have some signed books from His Holiness Kiraj Maharaj. So if you're interested in taking some copies, buying some copies, they're available for you today. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you here today. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Prasadam will be shortly served. Okay, thank you.